So stop thinking when you get onto social media and start to teach somebody, oh, do I have enough followers? Because that is not the question that you should be asking. The real question that you should be asking is, what is the transformation myself I have overcome that I can now help other people? I've recently met a woman out here in Dubai making over 15K per month teaching yoga. Just a simple course and a community and a couple of videos a week on YouTube, and that's her whole business. And it's not just her. I know someone who teaches how to play the piano, somebody else how to improve your health as a woman, and even how to make money flipping Legos. There are so many niches out there that you can potentially tap into. And the reality is that you don't need to even be world class at something. You just need to be better than your target audience. Because if you had to be world class at something, then the reality is only Ronaldo could teach somebody how to play football. Only Mike Tyson could teach boxing. Only LeBron James would be qualified enough to teach basketball. But that's just not how it works now, is it? So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly what I would do if I were to start from scratch once again. I have got no social media backing. I have no knowledge. I have literally nothing at all. And if I were to go back to the very beginning, these are the exact steps that I would do to get back to the 10K per month that I'm now making quite comfortably. And just to clarify, there is no big audience, there is no fancy funnels, I don't have any money for an editor, it's literally me starting at ground zero. Just a simple plan that I will show you that pretty much anyone can follow. All right, but the first thing we need to talk about is this hack mentality. Everybody's chasing this latest hack. Hey, how can I help the algorithm? How can I hack social media? Which topic should I pick in order to make as much money as possible? And the truth is, there is no hack, people. There is no substitute for hard work. What I think you should be focusing on isn't exactly the vehicle that you should choose, which one is better or which one is not, because I think every single vehicle can potentially make money. YouTube and social media is so vast these days that if you have knowledge in a particular field and you know how to apply it, you will make money. What I generally feel like you should be focusing on is more about getting the traits, those characteristics of somebody who's making over 10K per month, and that is discipline, preservation, working under pressure. When problems arrive, still keep going on and on and on. When things don't go down your way, still continuing to persevere, because any business you're going to go into, it will be problems. There will be issues. There will be various things that come along your way. So therefore, your business journey is not going to go just straight up, straight away. It usually looks something like this. And what I think you should be focusing on is being that person that can withstand all of these struggles and issues that come along the way. So don't chase this magical number of 10K per month, 20K per month, or whatever it is. Just chase becoming the person that deserves to make that kind of money. Because if you all of a sudden start waking up at an appropriate time, start eating healthy, start really focusing on your discipline and self-control, then the money will come as a side effect. And if you become one of those dedicated people, even for the next 6 months, you will start to see results no matter what vehicle you choose. Now, another thing to realize is that money doesn't go to the person that posts the most. It doesn't go to the person that gets the most amount of views, most amount of followers, or most amount of likes. It actually goes to the person who solves the most painful problem. The more painful problem is, the more pressing it is, the more life-threatening potentially it is, the more you are able to charge, because that is where value is created. If you can solve a very painful problem for somebody, then that means you will be able to make a lot of money. This is why, for example, investment advisors and various people in the finance niche that handle people's livelihoods, that handle their savings, can charge an extortionate amount of fees, because the painful problem of not knowing how to invest yourself is really, really painful. In my case as well, when I was an Amazon FBA coach, I was teaching people how to leave their 9-to-5s and start their own Amazon FBA business. I was actually teaching people how to completely get away from that 9-to-5 lifestyle and therefore have their own business that they have full control over, where they become their own boss. And believe it or not, I started to charge at the very beginning, very, very little, but then as my audience grew, as my knowledge improved, and I started getting more and more testimonials, I actually started charging a lot more money as well, because it was a very painful problem. So think about it this way right now, when you are going back to yourself first, what is the most painful, pressing issue that you could potentially help people solve? It doesn't necessarily need to be something that you're most knowledgeable about, but there is a very distinct difference between teaching somebody how to play the piano, or potentially, train their dog or something like that, which obviously is an inconvenience, but it's not exactly a painful problem, or potentially going into a financial field, a medical field, or something like that, where those problems are a lot more strenuous and difficult for people to solve. Even right now with what I'm doing and helping creators and coaches get more clients through social media, that is a very, very painful problem because somebody may be posting for weeks, months, maybe even years, getting views and still figuring out as to why I'm not getting any email signups, why nobody is buying my offer, why is nobody actually even booking a call with me. That is a very, very frustrating problem because somebody can spend 10, 20, 30, even 40 hours per week and still getting no results whatsoever. So if I can come in and help them out and alleviate that problem and actually put them on the right path when their content actually starts converting into clients, into paying clients, then that is a very, very big problem that I just solved. And the bigger the problem, the more value, the bigger the price. It's as simple as that. So stop thinking when you get onto social media and start to teach somebody, oh, do I have enough followers? Because that is not the question that you should be asking. The real question that you should be asking is, what is the transformation myself I have overcome that I can now help other people? And in most cases, most clients, what they usually happen to do is just speak to their younger selves. So for example, once again, in my case, now because I have been an Amazon FBA coach, I have now transformed into being a creators coach, and I teach essentially people with knowledge, just like myself a few years ago. It is September in Dubai, but it's still way too hot to be shooting this video outside, so I'm gonna have to be indoors. But anyways, as I was saying, I will now introduce you the four-step path. The four-step path that you need to take in order to go from $0 to $10,000 per month, okay? We are going to go on to the strategy side of things. I could be making many videos about who you need to become as a person, but it's essentially the strategy. And the number one thing that you need to do is, first of all, pick a skill, okay? Just pick a skill and learn it as quickly as possible. Basically thinking that if you don't have any skills whatsoever right now that you can teach somebody else, just spend a month, 2 months, 3 months learning yourself about, for example, AI or sales or something to do with finance that you can then relay that information onto somebody else. Now, yes, of course, you're not going to be amazing at it. You're still a beginner, but with 3-4 months knowledge, you are still already much further ahead as opposed to somebody else. And don't think that, hey, now I need to spend a year or 2 years figuring this stuff out, because that's exactly the mistake that I made. When I started off my Amazon FBA coaching business, I said to myself, hey, I need to make over 500K in a single year in order to be qualified, in order to be worthy to start teaching somebody else. But the reality of the matter of the situation is that I, by that time, was already left my 9 to 5. I was already taking out a salary and was making a decent amount of money. And therefore, I was qualified enough because other people, my audience, wanted to be in the position that I was. So this 500,000 arbitrary number was complete bullshit. In other words, you don't have to be a 10 out of 10 in a single subject. Matter of fact, most of the time you probably won't be. As long as you're like a 3 or a 4 out of 10, you can easily now teach people who are a 1 out of 10. And trust me, the side effect of being on social media, as you speak about the subject more and more, you tend to get naturally better and better and more knowledgeable over time. Now, the next one is attention, and this one is important because you can't be everywhere. You can't just be on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, LinkedIn, Twitter, and all that sort of stuff, right? That is the mistake that I made, and I don't want you to do the same thing. What I did was essentially think, oh, you know what? Well, it's easiest way to actually get views is going to be on TikTok. So let me just put all of my effort on TikTok, and come to realize, yes, I get a lot of views, and yes, I get a lot of followers, but the views actually come from children, like 13, 14-year-old kids who would never, ever think about buying my services. So what's the point? And what I've come to realize is that yes, attention is important, but it's important from the exact audience that you want to help. Okay, if you are all of a sudden now starting to reach out to people, let's say in India or Pakistan or Nigeria or something like that, who will never be interested in your services and can never afford your services, then what's the point? So what you need to do is a little bit of research. Who is your target audience? What is their exact problem? And then where do they gather? Where are they on? And in my case right now, to be honest with you, it's YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, which I'd literally just started and finally seeing some traction, and then Facebook. And I used to focus so much time on TikTok and Snapchat like an absolute idiot, didn't even realize that the majority of my audience will never be there. But just remember, it's not the number of views, it is the amount of people who could potentially be your target audience. When I just started with Amazon FBA, and I literally was, in my very first few months, my videos on YouTube was getting like 30 to 50 views per video. And I was still getting clients because those were the exact people that I wanted to help. When I made a 1.5 hour long form tutorial on how to start selling on Amazon and only 50 people watched it, I still had booked calls because those 50 people knew that I had knowledge, knew that I had the solution to their problem, and therefore were happy to jump on a call and pay for my services regardless of how many views or subscribers I had. So stop worrying about that. But the next step that I want to go over, past the skill and past the attention, and that is the ask, okay? So now that you've got a little bit of an audience, now that you are known for a certain subject, the next thing you want to do is essentially ask. Or I should actually reframe it and more like give. And that means give something of value in return. That could be an easy lead magnet. That could be a video or some sort of webinar or something like that, where you actually give something more of value in exchange for an email, in exchange for a phone number, because now you are building a business. Because the truth is, you can have the attention, right? You can have the followers, but all of a sudden there is an update on LinkedIn or there's an update on Instagram, the algorithm changes and you start getting, from 100,000 views to all of a sudden 5,000 views. There are so many creators that you can speak to that have noticed that many, many times. And I've been in creator forums as well, and they start panicking because they have depended on these views so much. So when something changes and the algorithm flips on you and you drop your views by like 80, 90%, they freak out. Okay, so what I want you to do is start asking people for their email addresses, so when these things happen, you still have a great way to reach out to these people and offer something. And then when you have an offer, of course, promote it via email, because you know for a fact if you have their email address and if you have their phone number, you have one sure way that you can contact these guys. Even if you don't have anything to offer right now, let's say you're too lazy to create a lead magnet and therefore you don't want to get their email addresses, which I think is stupid. But let's say somebody signs up and actually follows you on Instagram. There is nothing stopping you from looking at their profile, seeing if they could potentially look like a customer for you, and just starting a DM conversation. They are already a warm lead because they have looked at your social media, they've looked at your videos, they liked what you see, and they said, yeah, you know what, I'm going to follow this person because I would like to see their content that they will make in the future. So why not nurture that relationship? Why not start a conversation and see what's going on? So we now have the skill, we have learned a skill, we have got some attention, and we are now starting to ask people for their email addresses, their Instagram DMs, and giving out lead magnets or whatever. The last bit that I have to for you guys to overcome, and that is sell. Now, I understand when I say the word sell, the very first thing that comes into your mind, let's be honest, between me and you are thinking, hey, I'm going to sound like a sleazy salesperson. I'm going to come across as somebody who is just trying to take their money and run away with it. But if you just reframe and change that mindset, it will change everything for you. You are not selling a something that doesn't have any value. You are essentially giving and saying to them, hey, I know that you've got this problem right now. I can fix it for you. There is only limited amount of information that you can get on YouTube, but if me and you work on a one-to-one basis, I can help you fix this problem. So instead of thinking yourself as like a sleazy car salesman, see yourself as a doctor. And for example, when somebody comes to me on a sales call, I don't even like calling them sales calls, to be honest, between me and you, but that's never the point. What I'll say is this, is that when you get on a sales call, what you want to do is feel like you are a doctor and you are diagnosing their problem, okay? You are trying to figure out exactly what have they been doing so far, what has worked for them, what hasn't been working for them, how long have they tried to fix this problem, and therefore you figure out exactly, okay, can I work with this person or not? Can I help them or not? And then you provide a solution, okay? You give them your offer potentially and say, hey, if you want to take it, I know for a fact I can help you. This is the price. This is what the work will look like. Completely up to you whether or not you want to make a decision. Now, of course, some people will take it and start looking at various closing tactics and all that sort of stuff. But in my personal opinion, if you are genuine and nice and respectable to people, you don't really need to come across as a salesy person. You are just like, hey, I've heard you out. I know I can help you because I've helped X, Y, and Z. Here is the price. Here is the price for my offer and my services. Do you want it or not? It's completely up to you. And if somebody says, yeah, I need to think about it, don't start thinking about various, objection overcoming techniques or anything like that. Just let people think about it. Let them sit on it, because it's a big decision at the end of the day. And if they do want to go for it, then they will come back to you. And if not, that's not a problem at all. And that never should be. This next part, I'm going to shoot in the balcony because I'm living in Dubai and therefore I should be able to handle this heat. let's see how it goes. Where was I? Well, we spoke about earlier about the vehicle and how important it is in terms of acquiring your skill, in terms of getting attention, in terms of giving something of value or asking of something of value in return, and then essentially selling. But that is the small part. The big part, and I can't kid you enough, this guys, this is so important, and this is what I really want you to take out of this video, and that is, what is the traits and the mindset that you have in order to be successful? That is what's going to make you all the difference. The vehicle, which we spoke about earlier, is just a car, it's just a vehicle. It can be changed from one thing to another, no problem. But you, the driver, is what really matters. Because the truth is, like, two people can have the exact same business models, one fails, one succeeds. You kind of have to ask yourself, what makes them different? Well, and what makes them different are essentially 4 core traits that I have noticed. Number 1, focus, okay? Can you focus on a given task in that niche long enough without seeing any results, okay? If you're one of those people that expect results within a couple of weeks, you need to work on that, because in most cases that never ever happens. So can you focus on something and go for weeks and sometimes even months, and sometimes in rare cases even years, by not getting a results? That's one part of focus. The second part of focus is actually being able to not get distracted by the lady in the red dress, because now, as I've been on social media for quite some time, the amount of proposals, the amount of asks, the amount of requests that I get in various subjects can be quite overwhelming, and sometimes they actually can be quite tempting, but I still tend to refuse most of them, because I have to think to myself, okay, well, if I do go for something brand new, I'm going to be brand new in that field, and yes, it may have a much higher potential, but do I really want to start something new? So it's really important for you guys to pick something that you're really good at, really interested in, and just focus and stick to it. When it came to my Amazon FBA business, I'm still doing it for 7 years straight now. When it came to my Amazon FBA coaching business, I did it non-stop for 4 years straight, okay? That was all I was focusing on. And the amount of people that said, hey, you should try out e-commerce, you should try out dropshipping, you should try out Forex. And I said, no, I'm going to make more money and I'm going to be more knowledgeable and I'm going to go further in life if I just stick to this thing. Now, the next thing we need to talk about, of course, when it comes to business, is discipline, especially when it comes to social media, because social media, I'll kid you guys, is so unpredictable. You may be flying, you may be getting so many views, you may be getting one video viral hit over another. Like I, on 2023 in TikTok, was getting, every single video was getting like over 500,000 views. And then all of a sudden, the algorithm changes, my subject changes, and it completely tanks to now getting around 1,000 to 2,000 views. Are you disciplined enough? Are you mentally mature enough to be able to withstand that? Can you basically keep up, stay decent when the highs, and can you also be okay when you have the lows? And what helped for me the most is usually trying to do whatever I can to stay in the middle as much as possible. So when things are going really, really well, when my business are going really, really well, I know that this is temporary and hard times are about to come. When bad times are happening and nobody seems to be signing up and nobody seems to be watching my videos and I'm not getting any results whatsoever, once again, I keep reminding myself, if I just stay disciplined, if I just stay on course, and if I just continue to persevere, this once again is temporary. So if you just keep on that focus and just continue to do whatever you can, no matter what the results are, you will eventually succeed. It's just a given. Now, this next one, I don't really know how to call it, to be honest, but let's just call it flexibility. And that is, the definition of insanity, I don't know who said this, to be honest, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Well, that is exactly what you need to be able to fix. If something that you're trying to do again and again and again, you clearly see is not working, you have to be prepared to change course. You have to be prepared to change strategy. You have to be prepared to do something new, unique, different. Like, for example, for me right now, I was doing studio videos for a very, very long time and nobody resonated with them. I was doing videos that were very, very scripted, and again, nobody resonated with them because my body language was off, because people didn't really feel like I was genuine and real. And therefore now I thought, you know what, let me just get a GoPro, let me get myself a DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and let me just start shooting videos whenever I feel like it, whenever I feel like it, on whatever I feel like it. And I've been getting so many emails and DMs saying, hey, your videos have now become so much more valuable, so much more real, and sometimes I even just watch them for entertainment purposes. So, the trait here is, are you able to pivot and change when you clearly see that something that you're doing right now is not working? I tried to stay in the balcony, but I couldn't do it any longer. I'm really sorry, so it's going to have to be like this. And I know the background is not as nice as it is outside, but Sorry about that. And the last thing that I wanted to speak about on this part is the long-term view. This kind of goes back to the hack mentality that, hey, I need to make money straight away. I need to make money, the 10K, 20K per month, the next month when I'm at zero right now. When I started on my social media journey, which happened to be in 2020, I said to myself, and I don't know how that came about essentially, but I said, I'm going to give this thing 10 years. 10 years. I'm going to stay on here until 2030 at the very least to see what I can possibly achieve. And then once I have potentially gotten to 2030, I will then evaluate my results. I will see how much money I've made. I will see how much, presence, social media presence that I've gotten, and see if there is potential for me to go further or potentially give something else a shot. Okay, with Amazon FBA, again, I started in 2018, it's now 2025, I'm still doing it right now. That's 7 years in as well. So whatever you pick, you kind of have to ask yourself, okay, is this something that I'm comfortable in doing for at least the next 5 years? Because if you're one of those people, and let's be honest, there's a lot of you out there that are like this, that keep chopping and changing from one thing to another, maybe that is the big problem that you are having. You are just not sticking with something long enough to see the success. And I'm not sure exactly where to include this part, but I really, really have to mention it because so many of my students are dealing this with it right now. And that is what we call something imposter syndrome. Basically meaning that they don't feel like they are worthy, that they are good enough in order to teach somebody else. And chances are, whenever I speak to them for about 30 minutes or an hour, and I actually ask them questions about their field, whether it's in men's health, whether it's in mortgage advice, whether it's in e-commerce or psychotherapy or all those little things, and then they start rifting off all of the knowledge that they have, they are much more than qualified in order to teach somebody else. So I kid you not, guys, if you are feeling right now, hey, I may not be good enough, I may not try this, I may need to educate myself a little bit longer, chances are if you're a 3 or 4 out of 10 right now in that field, you can help somebody that's a 1 out of 10. You don't have to spend an extra 6 months, a year, maybe get a degree, maybe pay for a whole bunch of courses to increase your knowledge. The chances are the best people that will help are the ones that care. And there's a very, very good saying here when it comes to coaching. People don't care how much you know, they want to know how much you care. Okay? I'll repeat that one more time. I actually think I should be putting this all over my social media. I'll be doing this more often. People don't care how much you know, they want to know how much you care. If you genuinely care for people's results, if you genuinely care about them getting the solution that you are offering them, and you are willing to do whatever it takes to help them get there, that's what people will buy into. They don't care if you spend something 5 years learning or 10 years learning or 15 years learning. If you have been able to help somebody else just like them, that means you can help them too. All right, so to put all of this together right now, if I were to start at the very, very beginning, knowing what I know now, and I know nothing at all, I've got no money, no employees, nothing like that, this would be my 90-day plan to do whatever I can to make that first 10K per month. And also, when you do make that 10K per month, please don't be stupid and start spending money on Rolexes, first class tickets, and start going on holiday. Use whatever money you make from social media to reinvest back into your business, whether that is getting employees, whether that's getting better equipment, or just more mentorship and coaching, because some advice sometimes can literally be the difference between you making 10K per month and 50K per month. This is why I myself reinvest probably about 50K every single year into my own education, and I would suggest you do too. So, step number 1, and that is pick a problem that is really, really pressing to your potential audience right now that you have been able to solve. Whatever it is, as long as it's pressing, the more painful, the better, because that means you will be providing people with far more value. And in the very beginning, this is what I would do. I would just say, hey, I'm going to be working with people on a one-to-one basis. I'm not going to be doing this bullshit group coaching or courses or anything like that right now. That complicated stuff can come later. In the very beginning, what I would do is I would literally just start with one-to-one coaching, because quite frankly speaking, if I've never coached before and I know something about this subject, chances are these clients of mine, these potential clients that are going to come to me, is going to give me just as much information as I'm going to give them. They will ask me questions that I can then use for social media. They will tell me what they need. Do they need a course? Do they need a group coaching community? Do they need a mastermind or whatever? So I will be extracting just as much value out of them as they will be out of me. So package it as a simple offer, just like a one-to-one mentorship or a done-for-you service, depending on what you're doing. And what I would also suggest, and this is going to be crazy, I know, it's crazy, because you may not be making money straight away, but if you've never coached somebody before, start coaching your very first few clients completely free of charge for at least 2 to 3 weeks. Because The reality is this, you're now going into the market, and why should somebody choose you when they can choose so many other coaches out there? When they can choose literally pretty much anybody out there who's been there for longer than you, who's got more testimonials than you, who's got more reputation than you, and so on. The only lever that you can pull in the very beginning right now is price. And if you say to somebody, hey, I'm new to the market, I'm starting out, I need to make a name for myself, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you as much as I can for the next month, completely free of charge. All I want in return is a video testimonial. Does that sound fair enough? Fair. Cool. And that's what happens. And then when I get 3, 4, 5 clients for free, I will try and do whatever I can to get them results. I will go above and beyond as much as possible so they can see progress. And guess what happens? After that 1 month, what they'll do in most cases, once they've seen some results, they don't want to stop there. What they'll do is say, hey, can I work with you longer? And you'll be like, yeah, sure, not a problem. But unfortunately, I can't be doing this for free forever. Here is my offer. And that's how you get your very first few paid clients and testimonials at the same time. Now, on top of that as well, next month is you want to focus as much as possible on getting attention. The very first few clients you may get from your personal network, because obviously you're going to get them for free, so it shouldn't be too difficult to get your very first few clients. But the second month is all about getting attention and getting attention in the right places. I don't want you to start focusing on pretty much every social media platform out there. I know it may sound like a good idea, but if you're going on TikTok and your target audience is 40 plus, what's the point? You're literally just wasting your time. So in my opinion, if your audience is 30 plus, 40 plus, the people that have the money because you're solving a very valuable problem, focus on the platforms from your research that, have the vast majority of their audience in that demographic. And every single time somebody comments, every single time somebody DMs you, messages you, whatever, start a conversation with them because they clearly know who you are. They've liked your message. They've resonated with your message. They took the time to actually make a comment. So why would you just stop there? Start speaking to them. Say, hey, do you like my content? Is there something specific that you really want to know? Is there something that I could potentially make a video? Is there a way that I can provide more value? Hey, check out my free guide. I've created this right now. I'm not charging any money for you. Let me know if this is something you find useful. And my goal would literally be in the very next month would be to get like 100 email subscribers and start 3 to 5 real DM conversations every single day. And don't focus on selling your services just yet. Just literally start a conversation and try to help them. Genuinely, from the bottom of your heart, try to help them as much as possible. And people will be able to see right through it. People are not stupid these days. They can see who is trying to sell them on some shit and who's genuinely there to try and help them. And in this messed up social media world right now, there is far more people on pile number 1 who's just trying to make money off you than pile number 2 who's genuinely wants to help. Then once you've had the conversation, you've shown them that you've got quite a bit of knowledge and a little bit of value, say, hey, why don't we just jump on a free call, because going backwards and forwards on DMs may be quite difficult. Most of the cases, they will say, yeah, not a problem. And in that call, now, yes, it's a sales call, just use a simple 4-step framework. In the very beginning, just build rapport and diagnose exactly what their problem is. Then second, show the solution, show the fact that you can help them. Then present your offer, how much you will charge, because now you've had a few clients that are for free, you've got a few testimonials, so you should start charging people, show them the offer, and then hopefully close them. What's so difficult? And after working with a few clients for free and getting them results and now having 3 to 5 video testimonials, there is nothing stopping you by charging 2 to 3 grand on a single client that is helping them solve a very painful problem. You get 2 to 3 of these clients per month, and you are already on your way of making 10K per month every single month. And the whole point of this 90-day exercise isn't really to start a business and build it up to millions and millions and millions. It's just to get started and start building momentum. It's getting to be in a place where you are known for something, where you've got a few testimonials, where you've got some traction, where you have got a little bit of reputation, and getting those wheels in motion. Because guess what? It always is a compound effect. As you get more clients will start speaking about you. If you get those clients' results, these people will notice and they will recommend you to other people as well, which is a benefit. Like, for example, for me, about half of my business comes from referrals. Because I'm getting results for those people are really happy with the results that I'm getting. They are speaking to somebody else and they mention my name, and then the next thing I know, I get a booked call from one of my clients' friends or colleagues or something like that. And it's the easiest sell ever because they have already spoken about me and they have gotten information from a trusted source that they trust. So this whole idea of convincing them that I'm the one to go for, I'm the best one in their market or service or whatever it is so much easier because I have already been recommended from a trusted source. And that's pretty much it for today's video. Like I said, it's not a complicated roadmap. In most cases, what we tend to do, our brains try to complicate things more and more and more because we find this goal to be so difficult. And in most cases, what I found is that the simpler it is, the more likely it is it's going to work. Just start by picking a skill, fixing a problem, start posting content around it, help a few people for free, and then charge people at the end. That's it.